Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. And thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk about my stuff today. And I'm going to present about this topic for about 40 minutes. And I'll just briefly mention about the WCCBT 2023, which will be held June 1st to 4th that Shinichi just mentioned. So I'll just talk about that. But I'll begin my presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions in the chat box. Then if I can check it out, then I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, you can give me ask questions at the end. Okay, my topic is I'm sorry, it just moved. Yeah. Is a randomized controlled trial for testing the effectiveness of an app-based cognitive rehabilitation program for children with adolescents with neurodevelopmental disorders. I've been working with the kids with autism for the past 20 to 25 years, and I mostly provided direct services, one-on-one services, following the principles of applied behavior analysis. And I realized that, in order for us to provide a good services, we have to have a lot of people, at least, a team of people to provide extensive services to this population. In my country, that's not really happening because the governmental support is rather limited. So I've been searching for the other ways of providing effective services for this population. And about 10 years ago, I learned that digital internet-based treatment or technology-based treatment might be the one way of providing services to this population. So I kind of switched my interest to the digital world, and this is the one that I made about 2 to 3 years ago. I am going to introduce some of the stuff that I made at the end of this presentation, but this is one of the projects that I successfully completed, and I thought that it's worthwhile to present about that here today. And I'm working on the paper, out of the result from this project, so it's going to be published in hopefully, in this year. But before that, then I'm gonna working on that stuff to see whether I can convey this information to other people. But anyway, this is the contents of presentation for today. And first, the 3-part is how I developed this program. I'm going to explain to you about that. And then last 3-part, I'm going to introduce to you about the treatment outcome studies that I did. And at the end, I'll summarize the result of this project. First, the study background, and then for those who work with the kids with the developmental disabilities, their difficulty is associated with the developmental delays in central nervous system of the brain, and that's the major cause of mental disorder in children, and then its prevalence rate is increase. So on your left side, you can see the prevalence of children diagnosed with any developmental disability, and you can see it's a kind of increased trend regardless of the disorder. And then on the right side, you can see the circle, and you see that autism spectrum disorder is about 23%, and then intellectual disability is about 38%. And then there are a lot of different disorders, developmental disorders. They also have, we call them as a neurodevelopmental disorders. So we know that there are a lot of kids who need some kind of services because of their diagnosis, but because of their, the cognitive disability, they have a lot of problems in functioning. And I kind of reorganized what their problem is in terms of the executive functioning. So, that's on your right side, there is a picture, and usually executive function is considered to be composed of several abilities, but the typical one is planning, working memory, flexibility, and inhibition. Of course, there are other categorization, but this is more the typical ones. And depending on the disorders, their problem they share all problems, and they show all problems in executive function. So because of the problems in executive functioning, they have issues in learning, behavior, emotion, and relationship. So I thought that it might be good to develop a program to enhance the executive functioning for this population, and that's going to be really helpful for them to learn other stuff. So that's kind of the background information about how this project started. So I kind of reviewed the whole programs, what in a typical treatment session, what are the programs that they people are providing to this population. So the very left column, you can see the intervention program is mostly based on the ABA principles, or CBT, or CB ecological intervention, and social competence, and there are a lot of few things. But for kids with the developmental disabilities, ABA is the most popular one, especially for the kids with autism. And then they try to make a program to increase the working memory and other stuff. So you can see that there are a lot of programs which has been already developed to promote some portion of executive functioning for this population. And there are other things that you can see. And by looking at these whole, I will not go over this, things, very specifically, but when you take a look at these things, and people are already developing some programs to increase the executive functioning of this population, but some of the programs are really restricted to certain areas of executive functioning or other stuff, and they are developing programs for certain disorders. So there are a lot of rooms for us to improve to develop a better program. So many kids with a neurodevelopmental disability, regardless of their specific disorders, they can learn or they can benefit from using it. And this is another one. So I was a little bit surprised that I thought that there are a lot of programs, but it was less than I expected. But there are also a few programs that was pretty good. So I learned a lot of reviewing it, but at that time, I still thought that it's worthwhile to develop a better one. So I give it a try. So this is the kind of what model that I based on. So I want to make a model which has SMART stuff. So what is a SMART? The S is a specialization. So I want to make the program which contains 4 areas of executive functions. So a specific program. And I want to point out the importance of maintenance. So I want to make the program ensuring the accessibility and continuity through commercialization. Because in the research setting, once I made it, and because I don't have enough money to support the program dies. So one thing that I learned from this process that once I make it, I have to commercialize it. So people. I can get some funds, so I can continue to provide the update so people can use it. And then the other one is autonomy. Actually, this is one of the most important thing for the technology-based treatment, because people, or in this case, children, has to use it independently by themselves. This should be a game, and it shouldn't be forced by adults to use it. I want to develop a game that children can pleasurably use it without getting any push from the parents. I want to make it really fun so people children can use it like by their own will. And also the tailored is one of the specific things that I pointed out. It has to be tailored to individual needs, because unless it really meets their needs, or unless the program fits to the level of kids functioning, it's really hard for the kids to use it. So it has to be tailored to each one's level. Or also, I really believe that we have to distribute the program which its effectiveness is proved. So I want to disseminate the evidence-based or research-based one. So this is the kind of 5 philosophy that I followed when I developed the program. So based on this whole thing, I developed the YES program. And then I did the content validity, and then I did a check for level of difficulty. And after I went through this whole thing, I investigated, and then I conducted the 3 treatment outcome studies. One is it is done as in a home setting. The second one is done in school setting. So I want to develop it, and I want to test it that it's effective both in home and in school. So, and the program development, this kind of looks really like complex, but I made a group, and then we did an in-depth interview with the parents, teachers, and kids. And I did a research, and then I finally developed the components. And then after I developed the components, and also I designed the game contents and difficulty level, and also I got advice from the expert, and also I examined the feasibility of the implementation. And after went through this whole process, I developed a program. When you take a look at this box in the middle, it consists of 4 categories of executive functioning, which I showed you at the beginning. And I made a decision about like training has to be done every day about like 10 minutes, and has 6 training games per domain. We have 4 domains, and then each game has a 15 level of difficulties. So after I developed the whole thing, and I did the testing with a few kids to see whether that's working or not. And after I complete this whole checking process, and I publish the program to the market, and I did at the time the treatment outcome studies. So so the first one, we did the applicability and contents validity test. So we recruited 5 therapists and 5 parents and 9 teachers. And we show them the program that we developed, 24 games with a 15 difficulty level, covering 4 domains of executive functioning. And we show them, and we gather their suggestions and informations. So we learned from this process that we have to, sorry, it's just moving back and forth. We have to rearrange the difficulty level, and we have to change the program, because we realized that some of the programs are too difficult for certain kids, and other programs are not really suitable for this population. So we made changes, all those little itty bitty things based on this consultation. And the second thing is, like I said, once we complete the whole program, we recruited about 3 kids, and we made them use this program for about like 4 months. And we communicated with them and then their parents to see whether we have to change certain things, because for some kids they said that the reinforcement rate is reinforcement rate is too low, so they are not enjoying this. So we have to change the reinforcement rate. Or the other one says that some of the games are too difficult, so we have to arrange the game level. And others says that the design and UX UI is not really friendly, user friendly. So we have to change the spot of the button, and then we have to change the colors and themes and all those kind of things. So after we go through this whole thing, this is the final program that we came up with. So like I said, it contains 4 types of executive functioning. So we have 4 domains: working memory, flexibility, innovation, and planning. And when you take a look at this, for each domain, it has 6 games, and each game has 15 difficulty levels. And the second column, third column, no, not the column, third line, you can see the name of the games that we made. And we developed these games based on the literature, especially cognitive psychology, but we don't want to make it too like task-like games. So we have to change the the target and the game like format, but it's a similar, but it looks more fun. So we, after we made it, we named it in a more fun way, so the kids can be more interested in. So these are the 24 games. And this is how it looks like. I'm going to show you a videotape. We'll see. Okay, so this is the game that I made. When you take a look at this game more closely, you can see that, some of the games that I can see in the literature, this looks like it's a sustained attention task, or other, it looks like it's this inhibition task, stuff like that. So yeah, of course, we got the idea from the literature, but we changed it so it looks more fun. That's our goal. So these are the 6 games that we developed for working memory. And you can see some of the things, it looks familiar because, in other, the children's area, you might saw these games. You probably are aware of, this is already available in the field. But the main thing is we made it really, really easy, so the people with a low developmental functioning or intellectual disability can play. So actually, when I make this one, 2 things were really difficult. One is how we can make it really easy, and then once they complete the one level, and then they have to move on to the next level, and how do we change the difficulty level from one level to the other? Because if it's too difficult in the second level, it might be too hard for the players to move on to the next step. So we have to kind of adjust the difficulty level, and that was one of the difficult things. But that's the one thing that I had a really hard time of figuring out. And then second thing is the design. When you take a look at these things, for kids with autism especially, also developmental disabilities too, they are easily distracted. So I don't want to make it like too fancy or too complex. I want to make it really like cute, and I want to make it really interesting, but I don't want to give them too much stimuli so they can distract it. So they cannot focus on the task. So I have to kind of arrange the colors, and have to choose the colors and number of colors, and the brightness, those things. But I don't think it's really perfect, but I give it a try to see. It looks fun but not destructive in a level. So that was one of the things that I had a difficulty, but these are the results. And these 4 games are the ones for the flexibilities, and then some of them you can see, you already saw at the video. And then this is the inhibition games, 6 inhibition games. And these are the 4 planning games. For the planning games, we want to make it more useful. So I included one with the money, so they can learn the counting money, and then identifying money. And then the other one is the number 5 is making sandwiches, and number 6 is choosing the right dress. And this is just to that's based on the comments from the parents that they want to teach the really ADL, the really practical skills, so people can generalize the learned, acquired skills to the everyday life. So we kind of made this program. So that's the kind of 24 programs that I made. And also I want to give the students and the children or the parents or teachers to the feedback of the kids' performance. So we made the assessment section, and then this is the Korean words, so you might not be able to read it, but this is the results section. We want to give them at the beginning, your kid's performance was like this. At the end, this much improvement was acquired, improvement was made, that kind of things. So and then also for some parents or teachers, and I want them to choose which program they want to play. That's another option that we made. Originally the main program is just automatically the kids has to play 6 games per day, and every 4 days, all 24 games were shown. So the 5th day they're going to repeat another 24 games like that. But for some people, they want to choose they want to really choose the programs that they want to focus on. So especially for kids, they want to only practice the working memory, so they can pick and choose. So we wanted to have that option. So that's why we just kind of made the program page like this. And after we complete the whole thing, like I said, we did the test for the difficulty level. So I recruited 12 kids, and we tested like 6 games with the 3 difficulty levels. I really wanted to give it a try for all 24 games, but it was really too difficult for us to test all the levels of each game. So we selected the 6 games, which it seems to be really hard to adjust the difficulty level. And we tested out empirically, and we found the right gap between the levels. So we were able to adjust the levels after this program. So this is the kind of results that we had. And so based on this, we were able to change the difficulty level. Okay. And then, it's also based on the reaction time, and then, accuracy rate. But anyway, so after we complete this whole process, we finalized our program, and finally we did the treatment outcome study. The first study is just to test the effectiveness of yes, on improving executive functions in children and adolescents with neurodevelopmental disorders, and this is done for home setting. So we recruit the kids, the age between 7 to 15, and their IQ level should be between 50 and 670. So this is a program for this level of intellectual disability. And I don't want to make the one with a higher functioning, because for higher functioning, people already made a lot of programs. So I don't think that's necessary. So I want to make a program for this level. So we made it, and we recruited, and we did a pretest. This is the outcome measures. And we randomly assigned the kids into 3 groups: experimental, comparison, and control. So the control is just the waiting list control group, and experimental is the one that we make them use the YES program that we developed. And since we need a comparison group, I found the one program that we previously made, and then we assigned that program to about 1/3 of the people. And after the training, we did a post-test, and also we did the following follow-up test. And this is the flow chart, the concert flow chart, and this will show that how we recruited and how many left and stuff like that. Okay, and then measures, we did test the executive function of kids using those 4 tests. This is actually testing the kids before and after using these measures. And we also did a direct observation. So we kind of made a setup, and then we made the kids to do something, and then we collected their performance data, and we compared those data before and after. And also we, for parents, we administered these 4 questionnaires, and this is the results. And then when you take a look at that, door interaction effect was found for all variables, which is really bad, because we expected that YES program will be much more effective. But then we realized that we need to change little things. So we modified the difficult level once again, and we extended the training time. And one of the things that we learned that for kids with a developmental disability, their learning speed is really slow. So for this program to be effective, we have to administer this program for a longer period of time. So we extended the training time, and then we modify the program, so people can go through each program one by one without having too much difficulty. And so we did the second treatment outcome study at home, and also same age range and IQ level, and we extended the training period from 66 days to more than 100 days. So the training period was increased about 30%, and the rest of the stuff are pretty much the same. And for this one, yes, we were able to find the interaction effect. Ooh, yes, not all, but some of the outcome variables. So interaction effect was found in cognitive, flexibility, and planning tests. Of course, the YES group performed way better than the control group. And for direct observation, we also found interaction effect. Yeah, kids under the training, went through the YES training, performed better after the training, which is good. And also for questionnaire, we were able to see the significant decrease in parenting stress from the YES group. So we were able to find expected outcomes on the second treatment outcome studies at home. And then third study was actually done in school setting, and it's because we thought that it's better to use this program at home, but we want to use this program at school so teachers can administer or they use this program in their setting. We thought it might be good to test it out. So we did the treatment outcome study at school, and age range and IQ range is pretty much the same, and the experimental design and procedures are pretty much the same. And the number of kids who participated in this study was 66. And then the recruitment method is just written in this page. And the result says that in terms of the measures, it's pretty much the same as the one that we use for home setting. And then we also administered both parent and teachers questionnaire to see whether they are stressed or the parent stress are decreased. And this is the results. So again, interaction effect was found in cognitive flexibility tests, and group effects was only found in the planning tests. And also parenting stress, there was a significant decrease in parenting stress in the yes group. So after reviewing this whole thing, this is the summary and also implication of the future studies. So application program, the application, just make the program using the application, we realize that it can be effective. But like I said, for developmentally disabled kids, it has to be longer. They have to use a long period of time, and then their difficult level should be well arranged. If we meet that, the requirements, then this application program can be effective for this population, for them to improve their executive functioning. And using, based on this result, we realized that maybe this program can be generalized to the brain functioning impairment, such as dementia, brain lesion, and children, adolescents with other cognitive function problems. So, well, this is just the one thing that we realized it might be useful. And actually, in fact, I didn't conduct the research yet, but I actually distributed this program to the older population, the elderly people, and then they really love this program. So I'm just thinking of developing the one for the elderly people with cognitive dysfunction or cognitive impairments. And then once we change the little things, then it might be useful for that population. So, but that's the first study. So it's going to be too much if I say that it can be generalized, but I want to say that this shows the possibility of generalizing this program to other populations. Also, dissemination wise, this is expensive in terms of making it, but once we made it, it's easy to disseminate. And so, in a long run, it's going to be much cheaper for users to use it, because, once you made it, a lot of people can use it regardless of where they live and how much they have. It's going to be cheap, and it can be accessible to, from their home and school. So dissemination wise, the program is really beneficial to the area where the therapeutic therapists are really restricted. In my country, we have a service system for kids with autism and developmental disabilities, but we don't have like a really good support system for the families. So, intensive treatment, in terms of the cost, it usually paid by the parents. Parents are really responsible for that. So their services are rather limited. But with this technology-based treatment, once we make, various of this technology-based treatment, parents can easily buy those things without paying too much. and then they can make the kids to use it, and then that's going to be really beneficial. So dissemination wise, it can be really a good alternative to, for the future. And then commercialization, once again, I don't know, how you think about my program that I just showed you. I spent a lot of money, designing or working with illustrator to make it really cute and interesting. But I know that it has to be improved, but still it's better than the previous ones. It has a better UX UI system, but like I said, it has to be improved, but it's better than the previous ones. And I know that it has to be like updated frequently, because nowadays you use the apps, right? But it changes the function wise, and it changes like very quickly. So even if I made it, unless we updated it, the program will die. So it has to be commercialized, and that's why I actually work with the company when I first made it. So I completed my study. This project was completed already, and the company that we worked together, they commercialized this one, so they are selling this program at this point, and but their charge is not that bad. So it's commercialized at this point, and in the future, I'm gonna develop further about the program. I want to make it more. I want to think about more ways of individualize the program. Even though I made the 15 levels, it's still, for some tests, some games, the level is not even. So there is a gap, and then for certain games, the kids can play up until like level 7. They can play it, but there is a jump, from 7 to 8. So it was really hard for them to move from level 7 to level 8. So I have to readjust those things. And also, even if I made it 24 games, which is way, way more than the rest of the games, the previous games, usually the previous games, the applications, the number of games are pretty low, like from 3 to 10 or something like that. But even if I have like 24 games, still, when you make the kids to do it every single day for like 3-4 months, 24 games is not really many. So we have to, I realized that I have to make more games to get attention from the kids. The kids, they usually lose interest after a few trials. So that's one thing. And also I have to think about the more reinforcing system, so I can make the kids to get involved in this things. So this is the result one, and I want to just to show it to you about the history of the games that I made. And when you take a look at this, the yes is the one that actually the 5th game that I made. And also, and then I'm working on this, the after yes program at this point. And in addition to that, I'm working on the CBT program for adults. So it says Haru is the name of the program, and I made that one for the persons with depression and cancer. So cancer patient who suffer from depression, they can use the Haru program. And after I made it, I kind of changed it. I made it for the I modified it and made it for the ASD population, because we know that the high functioning kid, the adults or the adolescent with autism, they suffer from depression. So I made that one, and after I made that one, and I realized that, oh yeah, it can be used for just the typical adults, but because I think that it has to be tailored to the users, so I made it for the adults and as well as undergraduate students. So the very far right side, Mood Mind Booster Green, that's the program for undergraduate students, and Mind Booster Blue is for the adults who are working in workers, employees. So this is the current status of what I made at this point. And well, I want to show this to you how it looks like. This is the CBT program that I made, but this is written in Korea. So, and then also the audio is in Korea. So I don't think it's really helpful for you, but this might give you an idea of how it looks like. It looks like it's more like the e-learning stuff. You know, for the YES program, that for the kids, that's a game format. For CBT, I couldn't come up with a game-like format, so I made it as more like an e-learning format. So, you know, when you take a look at it, you might be able to guess what it looks like. So let's take a look at it like very quickly.
안녕하세요. 오늘은 생각 바꾸기 좋은 4회기입니다. 지난 회기에 이어 기분에 영향을 줄 수 있는 인지 왜곡의 유형들을 좀 더 알아보겠습니다.
Yeah. So it looks like it. So like, you know, there is a narration, and then the very bottom part of it, there is like a text version of narration, and then the middle part and in the center, you know, it shows the pictures and, you know, the explanations. So that's more like e-learning type of things. Okay, so that's it for my topic. And I want to introduce you to about WCCBT, but before I move on to that, if you have any questions, then I can answer to your questions.
Yes, thanks, Kyong-Mee. Yeah, so folks, feel free to ask questions.
Hi, Alvin. I have
presentation. Yes, Firdaus.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof Chung. Very comprehensive and insightful presentation. I just have one question. You've mentioned in the procedure section that there was a comparison group, but in the results, there's only experimental and control group. So I'm interested to know what is the results if you actually compare that 3 groups.
Okay, so the very first outcomes study, we used 3 groups, and we didn't find any interaction effect. On the second one, we only include the yes group and control group. That's why the results section, there was only 2 groups.
All right. Okay, great. I have one more question, but I maybe allow to Dr. Farhana first because she raised her hand, Elvis.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
sure. Dr. Farhana, carry on.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. I'm Dr. Farhana from India.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, a very lovely presentation, ma'am. I think there is so much of effort that's gone behind this. So it was really insightful. Apart from that, my question is, ma'am, you said the levels are to be, upscaled as the child goes through these games. But my question is there a questionnaire that decides what level they should start at?
Okay, this is how that works. You know, at the very first 4 days, we kind of arranged the level so the kids can play it, and then we can test it out where we can start for that specific kid. So for example, first, every day there were 6 games, and instead of showing them one specific level, we arranged like 1, 4, 7, 11, that level, and then we took a look at where the kids can play or cannot play. So based on their performance for those first 4 days, we decided which level each kid start. So that's how we work.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for your answer.
Okay.
Any other questions, anyone? You may either type it in the chat or you may unmute your mic to speak.
Can I ask?
Yes, Nimisha, please.
So Kyong-Mee, that was a wonderful presentation, and I think it's very useful. I wanted to ask how much assistance would these kids require to play these games? I mean, can they do this just on their own, or they would require assistance from parents?
Okay, so one of our goal is the independent play. So I don't want the kids, I don't want the parents or teachers to say something for the kids to play about that. So I made it very short, like about 10 minutes per day. And usually, everything make it really simple. So, kids can start and play and then do everything by themselves. And we got the feedback after the completion of our study. And in fact, for most of the kids, they were able to play by themselves without, getting any help from the parents or teachers.
Right, that's wonderful. Also, secondly, do you think this game, this kind of a program can be adapted in the Indian setting, do you think?
Oh yeah, when you take a look at those things, there were not many language laden programs.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple, and for of course there are some programs which requires language, but it's really a word level. Once you know the words, and then you can take a look at it. So yeah, of course it can be transferred. Of course, we have to think about the the cultural stuff, because there are a few things that for the audio, the I'm the director game, that's actually the arrangement game, what happens in the actual situation. So for that one, we have to work on the
Right.
cultural stuff.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, that's going to be.
That's wonderful. So we would really like to talk to you about this, an Indian adaptation.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Firdaus, you want to follow up with another question?
I think because of the time, maybe allow time for Prof Chung to proceed with WCCBT promotion.
Yep, that'll be good.
Yeah, sure. Carry on.
Yep. Well, probably everybody knows we're going to hold the WCCBT 2023 from June 1st to June 24th. And one of the most important thing is we're still getting the abstract, and the deadline will be the March 31st. So we have about like 10 more days left, and then you can submit it. And the early for the registration deadline is March 24th. So if you take a look at those things, and they'll be really good, because you can save a lot of money by registering early. Oops, sorry. So this is kind of basic stuff, but I want to show you the invited speaker list. And when you take a look at the invited speaker list in our website, you can see what they are talking about, their topics and everything. And also these invited speakers will hold the pre-Congress workshop, and then it's going to be from 9 to 6. It's a full day intensive workshop, and you will have a chance to learn a lot of good stuff from these nationally renowned the scholars. So Judy Speck and Steve Haynes, Robert Lee, Christian Tedeschi, all those names you see in the book or textbook, and then they are coming to Korea and then give a great lecture or and as well as pre-Congress workshop. So please take a look at these programs, and you might be able to find some interesting topics for that one. And also the other thing that I want to point it out is Digital CBT Symposium. Like I said, CBT, this is our theme of this conference: Global CBT Dissemination, Accessibility, and New Technology. So probably, some of you guys already know that CBT has been used for the main content. CBT used as a main contents in the digital therapeutics. So a lot of people from outside of the psychology or medicine, people are jumping into this business or its area to develop digital therapeutics. So we thought that from this, through this conferences, we want to educate or disseminate the right CBT to the other people who are developing digital therapeutics, or the audience who are going to use the digital therapeutics, what the CBT is, how it has to be applied, and what are the programs that right CBT can be are used. So that's one of the goals. So that's why we made one specific day as a digital CBT symposium, and then we invited these 5 famous people, and then the Thomas Insel is online. He's not coming, but he's going to present live presentation, but other 4 presenters will come and visit our conference, and there are the expert of the CBT in terms of making the technology-based intervention. Dr. Adam Gasly is the one who made the first ADHD game called Endeavor, and then that's approved by US FDA. And Dr. Jose Hamilton is actually a psychiatrist. He developed open AI GPT, and actually he made a chatbot which developed CBT-based, which provide a CBT-based interventions. And Dr. Moore, his IntelliCare, he made IntelliCare. That's a kind of modular-based the CBT and BT components. And the very last person, the Patricia Delden, she developed a cognitive behavior program for the prevention purposes for the lesson, and she is working with a company who developed the digital-based program. So we have really fancy and interesting program, and I'm pretty sure you will get a lot of you learn a lot of information and meet a lot of important people in this field. So please welcome. And this is our program. And then, of course, you can see these informations in our website. Okay, that's it for me to introduce about this program.
Right, thank you very much, Kyong-Mee. Very, very exciting as the weeks draw closer to the Congress. So those who are here, I hope you also tell as many people as possible about the 10th World Congress of Cognitive and Behavioral Therapies, especially those in Asia. It's now very close by. It's in Seoul. And those from emerging countries, you get a very nice discounted rate of USD $300. Of course, that's early bird, right? So that's before 24th of March. All right, and well, back to Q&A, I guess. We have got still a bit of time. We've got about 5 minutes before we end. Anyone has any questions for Kyong-Mee?
Well, you can ask me about the WCCBT or my project or anything. I might be able to answer.
I've done none. I've got a few actually, but I just ask one first. I know that your project is more towards cognitive, executive function, and your measures also reflect those. I'm just wondering if you have any more social type measures to see if the outcomes, the improvements also are seen in the more social part of their behaviors.
Yeah, well, we were really thinking of developing one. I mean, we tried to find the one in from the pre-existing ones, but it was really hard to find the right one for our program. So at this point, we're using usually surveys, questionnaires, and ask about the social aspect of the kids to the parents or teachers. That's one of the kind of limitations, but it's really tough to see to assess the changes in social things. So that's something that we have to kind of work.
I noticed you've got a Vineland there already, so there are some social components in there.
Yes.
Yeah, because usually from the studies that I read about, they tend to use a social responsiveness scale.
Mhm. Well, actually, we use those things, but it's not really sensitive because
Right.
the program is about 3 months or something, and then social responsiveness is not changing that
Right.
quickly.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of limitation that we. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but very, very exciting. I mean, I echo Nimisha. I mean, it'll be great if we can have some different Asian countries version of all of these, and you can compare notes.
Yes, absolutely, we'd like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the one that I introduced at the end, the e-learning CBT one. Actually, once I made the undergraduate version for our country, and I made the Chinese version and English version of it. And at this point, I'm testing the effectiveness of it. So once
Awesome.
I prove that it's effective internationally, then I might have a more things to say to the other people that this can be transferable to other countries. First of all.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, really excellent. Okay, then no more questions. Then we'll close for the day. And please do give us your feedback. The link is in the chat. So we'd love to hear from you what you think about the talk, and if you've got any recommendations of the future topics you'd like to hear about. And again, World Congress CBT, tons of superstars. Come,
Yes.
Bring your neighbors, bring everyone.
Yeah, we have a lot of interesting stuff too. Please come to Korea
Yes.
in June. I'll see you all in June in Seoul. Thank you so much.
Land of K-pop.
Yes, we're gonna work on that part too.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Kyong-Mee.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.